co-workers sit across the same desk. Both of them are over 50. By afternoon, one is calm, focused, and sleeps fine. The other is exhausted, waking at 4 in the morning, catching every cold in the office. Not willpower, not luck. 4 hormones quietly running the show. Hormones rise and fall constantly, shaping energy, sleep, weight, memory, and mood, often unnoticed for years. Today we look at 4. Cortisol, the stress hormone that quietly ages the body when elevated too long. Insulin, which decides how the body handles sugar and how one bad night of sleep can throw it off balance. Testosterone, and why its decline in men is less fixed than most assume. Estrogen, and how a woman's brain responds when it drops during menopause. None of these fully control your life, but several can be influenced, starting this week. Cortisol, in the right amount, sharpens focus and helps you meet a real challenge. Trouble begins when stress never ends and cortisol stays elevated for months instead of hours. Researchers at Colorado State built an artificial intelligence model estimating biological age from stress and metabolic hormone markers. When cortisol doubled, estimated biological age rose by roughly 50%, a striking share for one hormone. This is a model, not a direct measurement, and the link is still being refined, but it matches decades of research tying chronic cortisol to inflammation, weaker immunity, and slower recovery. A demanding job, constant notifications, and financial pressure do not feel like emergencies, yet the body reacts to them the same way it would to a real threat. The good news, cortisol responds fast. Consistent sleep, regular movement, and structured relaxation bring it back down within weeks. Insulin decides how the body handles sugar after a meal. Researchers kept healthy young men awake one full night. The next morning, their blood sugar and insulin spiked in a pattern resembling early insulin resistance, normally tied to years of poor metabolic health. A second group did weeks of interval training before that same sleepless night, and their spikes were noticeably smaller. Poor sleep still hits hard, but an active body absorbs the impact better, especially past 40, when insulin sensitivity naturally declines. One bad night will not ruin your metabolism, but consistent sleep paired with movement protects against the swings that build into bigger problems. Many men in their 40s and 50s feel something has changed and assume it is just age. A long-running Boston area study followed over 1,600 men for 2 decades. Age alone did not explain most of the testosterone decline. Body weight, activity level, and chronic illness were tied to it just as strongly. One man in his 60s assumed fading energy was inevitable, but after losing weight and returning to strength training, his fatigue lifted and his levels resembled a younger man's. Exercise alone will not reliably raise testosterone in everyone, and replacement therapy is a decision for a doctor, not a video. Still, a meaningful part of this decline is tied to modifiable factors, not an unstoppable clock. For years, the assumption was that a woman's brain simply copes with less estrogen after menopause. Brain imaging from Weill Cornell Medicine found something else. As estrogen falls, cells in key regions grow more estrogen receptors, trying to capture whatever remains, most strongly in regions tied to memory and mood, the same ones behind the brain fog many women describe. A more recent Northwestern study found estrogen is also produced locally inside brain tissue. And losing that local supply is tied specifically to memory decline. A woman in her 50s forgetting why she walked into a room is not imagining weakness. Her brain is actively rewiring around a real hormonal shift. Hormone therapy is being studied here too, but that conversation belongs with a doctor. Back to those two co-workers. One likely has lower cortisol, steadier insulin from consistent sleep and movement, and a system supported by small choices over years. The other has been running on elevated stress hormones and metabolic swings with no single moment to explain it. Neither chose this consciously. Hormones never announce themselves. They just shape how you feel every day in the background. None of these four control your life, but none sit entirely outside your influence either. Cortisol answers to better sleep and stress relief within weeks. Insulin responds to movement. Testosterone decline is only partly about age. Even estrogen interacts with sleep and metabolic health in ways that soften or worsen the transition. The goal was never to promise full control, just to show that biology, unlike luck, responds to what you do. Which of these four hormones do you suspect has been running the show in your life? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if this helped, subscribe so you catch the next video.